then back to the Fairlane. So we got the rear here, we got all the bars here. We're gonna start welding some stuff up. We're still waiting for the cross member to come in, clevis bars, brackets to come in, and what else were we waiting on? Couple little pieces, and the lower shock mounts. But we took our measurements. We're actually gonna weld the brackets for the ladder, for the 4-link. We're going to weld that onto the rear housing, and we're going to weld all the rod ends onto the 4-link bars. All right, so we're going to clean these up. We got to take a roller and clean these holes out because they got a little bit of a burr on them. They won't slide on. Clean the end of the rear off, get all the burrs off it, and then we're going to clean the spot where it's going to go. All right. There we go. Okay, so we got Josh cleaning all the rod ends, getting the pipes ready for the rod ends. Now it's over there welding. All right, this we cleaned off. I got the burr off the end of that. I got one of these cleaned off. That's gonna go on there nice and tight, right? Waiting for the compressor to catch up, and then we're gonna do this other one. Here, hold it. Basically, we're taking this and round check them all clean.
It's gotta go on straight, so.
Okay. That's another one. The other two. All right?
You ain't gotta be too wide.
All right, that's got to be perfectly clean on the. Okay, so that's that. Starts getting heavy.
This is gonna be a heavy rear.
Yep.
Then we'll mark out where the center is again before we
We'll mark out
put everything on.
like that. Okay.
It's getting there looking like a rear now.
All right, we're gonna put it on 2 jack stands so we can center it and.
Alright.
All right. So what we're doing now is got the shock. These are the shock mounts, right? They go on these brackets. So what I'm doing is I'm actually just putting a piece of paper on each side of it just to take up some slack and give it a little bit more room. Right? I'm just doing this right here. Like that. So I'm going to put a piece of paper on each side so that it takes up some slack in between the brackets. Because what happens is I'm going to tighten them up, and then I'll have enough room to be able to slip them back out, and the brackets will slide up and down. So when you tighten them, they're tight, but they still have a little bit of give for when we got to take them off. All right. We finally got all the parts for this, and then I just looked in the box, and we're still missing a couple things, so I just got off the phone with them. They're actually going to send the other stuff now. I'm missing a track locator, the sleeves, the Welding sleeve for the track locator, and the clevises for the track locator. So they're going to be mailing those out today, supposedly. We'll see. Alright, so that. Tighten this up, and then I'll show you what it looks like. And then we gotta set the alright. What it looks like. Right, like that. Okay. All right. Set a couple of these on the other end of it. Same thing. I'm going to put a piece of paper on each one. This way, it's got a lot of. Show you on this side now. So now on this side, we're going to use the hind joint, but same thing. This way, because what happens is if you don't put something in here to take up some of the slack, when you weld it, it pulls and pushes and stuff, and then it's going to bind up. So we're going to put one on the top and one on the bottom, as if it was already in place. Just need to cut a little piece of paper out. All right, let me just get some paper set up. All right, finally getting to work on this Fairlane. So these are the brackets for the front of the 4-link. They look like ladder bar brackets, but they're a 4-link bracket on this car. It's the drop cross member. So what we did was we found the center of it, right? 4 links are going to be at 28 inches across, so 14 on center. So this mark is the center. And then this mark all the way around is going to be the edge. So it'll be the edge. So that's going to ride right on that edge. So that'll be 28 on the center. And then same thing with the rear. All right, so right now, that's what we were doing, figuring where it's got to go, because it's got to be right on the money. And then in here, did the same thing. All right, you see that mark? All right, that fine line, that's going to be right like that. Right like that on that line. And then we'll find it square. The brackets are all bolted together, so we know that's where they're going. Once we weld them in place, it looks like we could put an 1.5 inch bar through here all the way down to the other side and attach it to the center of the rear, and then put a couple of gussets on it to strengthen it up and keep it from moving around. It wasn't supposed to rain.
I didn't think it was supposed to.
Just starting now. So we got 2 gussets made like that. We'll weld the other one on this side. This way you got a little bit of more support on this side. Once that's in the car, then we can run a couple more supports to the sides. Alright, you're gonna finish welding both of them up.
Been back over to Advanced since that day.
Alright, so this is all done. Nice. Beautiful welds. Alright, so that's all done. It takes time because this TIG welding is very slow, but that's good. So now we're done with that. We're going to get the rear set up in here now. The housing, do the same thing. Alright.
Side good too.
Yep, let me just make sure this one's good. Yep, tack the inside. Yep. Nice and square. Alright, we go to town. Alright, so one more thing we're going to do is, they don't tell you to gusset everything, but like we gusseted their front cross member, we're going to put a gusset across the bottom of this. And you can see, like on my rear in the car, it's got 2 of them. Just the one they put in, we actually added a second one. So this one didn't have anything. We're going to put this one in 1.5 inches. That's because they made the holes. They could have made the holes 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. Would have been nice, but then they don't line up. So this one lines up, and then we'll just be able to weld to the bottom of that, and that'll support both sides and the rear. So we cut this off here, trim it down until it fits like the other side, and then we'll weld it in. All right, so we got this piece cut, filed, nice and clean, ready to go. Finishing up this welding. Very slow process. And it looks freaking awesome. Look at that. It looks like a robot. Nice, looks good. And once we put it back in the car, what we're gonna do is tomorrow lift the car back up, put the wheels and tires back under it again, get a final measurement of where it's gonna sit, and we'll be able to cut the tubes, weld the tubes on, and we'll order some axles. We're getting there. Slowly but surely. Support tube. Make it nice and strong. All right, all done. A lot of welding. All right, gang. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep up with the build. Tomorrow we'll be working on the car again. Like I said, we're going to be lifting it up, putting the wheels back under and getting all our measurements for that. Cut the track locator in place and cut the front cross member so we can fit that into place. Upper shock mount, all that kind of stuff. So, see you tomorrow.